Hi, I'm Christopher Schwarz, and I'm the author of the book that was written in 2007 called Workbenches, From Design and Theory to Construction and Use. And in that book, I make the strong case that pretty much workbenches are like lasagna, meaning you shouldn't buy them at the store, you should always make your own. They're always better. And I still feel that way for the most part, but Lie-Nielsen has now designed a new improved traditional workbench that meets a lot of the criteria that the hand tool woodworker needs to do good work. And it is actually the first commercial workbench I've ever seen that I actually would consider buying. I've been working on this bench all week, breaking it in for a DVD we've been working on here at the Toolworks. And I want to show you some of the features of this bench and what makes it different and better than almost every other commercial workbench I've worked on. And also, let me add that I'm not being paid for this in any way. The best feature of a hand tool workbench is that the front legs are flush to the front of the bench top. This allows you to clamp stuff in your face vise and then clamp it to the legs so you can work on really long edges with your plane. And so this feature, which is missing on a lot of European workbenches, solves a lot of problems of the hand tool woodworker. So that is feature number one, and that really makes me very excited. If we go down here to the tail vises, if you've read my book, you know that I really am not a big fan of tail vises. However, Lie-Nielsen folks have really done a lot to improve the tail vise. And the first thing is the hardware is made in such a way that this is almost impossible to sag. I've been working on these for a while, and I found they are very robust and that they don't sag at all like the traditional tail vise hardware. So that's great. But what's also great about the tail vise is what they took away. And the traditional tail vise had an L-shaped block here on the end. And this L-shaped block was sort of a vestigial organ of old workbenches that needed a side guide to keep the whole thing parallel. They took that away. That made the hardware easier to install and gives you one less fragile place on the bench. So that's a really great feature. The dog holes, it uses square dog holes, which are fine. And I also like round dog holes, but they're only a couple inches from the front edge of the bench top. And so that's really nice if you use fenced planes like plow planes and rabbet planes and molding planes, because you really want this line of dog holes up close to the front so you can hang the work over the front edge to work on it. Turning over here to the face vise, this is a twin screw chain drive face vise and operates very smoothly and doesn't rack, very robust. I have one myself that I've been using, and there are 12 inches between centers, which is plenty enough for almost every operation. Now, you're not going to be able to get a case side between these, of course, but there are lots of other options for that, and so it's a very nice feature. The other really big feature that I like is something that's kind of difficult to see, and you really have to be under here to see it, but the top is one complete solid slab of hard maple, and that's 4 inches thick. There's no apron here. It's not thinner in the middle like it is on a lot of those traditional cheap workbenches. So you can clamp anywhere on this surface without having to fuss around with your F-style clamps or put in some blocking under here. So that is just another really good solid feature. And then the last thing is another thing that it doesn't have, which is a tool tray. I think tool trays generally are a place for gathering debris, and I'd rather have a working surface, much like a very old school workbench. So the size is right, the shape is right, the features are right, and the nice thing about this bench is that it's also priced very well. It's the least expensive workbench that Lie-Nielsen offers at about $2,000 now. And so when you price out the maple yourself, you price out some nice vise hardware like this, the commercial workbench becomes a pretty good argument for buying one like this.